There are 5 giant companies in the world. These companies control your search engine, your phone, the software you use, your social media platforms, and almost everything you buy online. They have become empires. Now, I'm going to explain how these companies were founded and the critical factors they all had in common. Enjoy. Google. Google was founded in 1998. Once upon a time, there were 2 PhD students at Stanford University, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They had seen the rise of the internet and wanted to build something in this field. At the time, search engines ranked websites mainly based on how frequently a keyword appeared on a page. These 2 men managed to think differently, and that was the first critical turning point. They had a very simple but incredibly powerful idea. According to their theory, the more different websites link to a page, the more trustworthy that page is. They called this idea PageRank. At the time, they were living in a student dormitory, and they developed this system right there in their dorm room. They needed a large number of servers for this project, but they had no money. This was another critical moment. They could have given up, but they didn't. Instead, they found a solution. They bought cheap hard drives. Then they ran into another problem. They didn't have enough space. To solve that issue, they placed the hard drives inside Lego blocks. That was the beginning of Google. They overcame 2 critical challenges. They needed to think simply, and they needed to keep creating solutions without giving up. They succeeded in both. As time passed, they even considered selling the entire company to Yahoo's owners for $1 million. Yahoo rejected the offer. Nobody realized it at the time, but that decision would later become one of the most expensive mistakes in business history. Today, Google handles approximately 8.5 billion searches every single day. In the simplest terms, that means every person on Earth could perform 1 search per day. In 2024, Google's parent company, Alphabet, generated $350 billion in revenue. The primary source of that income is advertising. Google is not just a search engine. It also owns YouTube, which it acquired in 2006 for $1.7 billion. At the time, many people heavily criticized the acquisition. Today, YouTube generates more than $30 billion in annual revenue. Google also owns Chrome, Android, Google Maps, Google Cloud, and its artificial intelligence division, Gemini. The company controls 91% of the global search market. 9 out of every 10 searches worldwide are performed through Google. Overcoming small but critical problems in the early stages and then making the right strategic moves afterward is what turned them into a legend. Apple was founded in 1976. You probably know Steve Jobs. Together with Steve Wozniak and Ronald Wayne, he founded the company in California in the garage of Jobs' family home. Wozniak was the engineer. Jobs was the visionary. Ronald Wayne left the idea very early. He sold his 10% stake in the company for only $800. For a while, he didn't regret the decision. Nobody knew it at the time, but those shares would eventually be worth tens of billions of dollars. In its early years, Apple sold computer kits to technology hobbyists. Then came the Macintosh era. After that, the company entered a difficult period that nearly led to its collapse. In 1985, Jobs was forced out of the very company he had founded after a power struggle with Apple's board of directors. By the late 1900s, Apple was on the verge of bankruptcy. While everyone thought it's over, Jobs returned. That was a critical decision. His return would change everything. In 2001, the iPod was introduced. In 2007, the iPhone entered the market. This product rewrote the rules of an entire industry. During the launch presentation, Jobs stepped onto the stage and introduced 3 things. The first was a widescreen iPod. The second was a phone. The third was an internet communication device. At first, everyone thought Apple was introducing 3 separate products. Then Jobs said, "These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device." The room fell silent. Then time sided with courage. Today, the iPhone is responsible for nearly half of Apple's annual revenue. In 2018, Apple became the first American company to reach a market value of $1 trillion. Then, in 2020, it reached $2 trillion, doubling in value in just 2 years. Today, Apple's market capitalization is around $4 trillion. Apple is not just a technology company, it is a luxury brand that happens to create technology. People wait in line all night just to buy its newest products. The key thing to notice here is customer loyalty, and that is Apple's most important reality. Returning from the edge of bankruptcy and building a loyal customer base. In the end, the world has always admired those who are brave enough to take the right steps. Microsoft. Microsoft was founded in 1975. Bill Gates and Paul Allen were 2 childhood friends from Seattle. Gates was only 19 years old when he dropped out of Harvard University and started a software company with his friend. This time, the critical decision came right at the beginning. Not everyone is willing to take the risk of leaving a university like Harvard. At the time, most people believed that computers were simply tools for engineers. Gates thought differently than everyone else, and defending a completely different vision on his own required an extraordinary amount of courage. Gates was convinced that one day there would be a computer on every desk and in every home around the world. Then, IBM came knocking. For those who may not know, International Business Machines, or IBM, is one of the oldest technology companies in the world. IBM needed an operating system for its personal computers. Microsoft did not have such a system at the time. At that moment, Gates could have simply said, "Unfortunately, we can't help you." But he was a man who thrived at critical crossroads. He immediately went out and purchased the rights to an operating system from a small company for $50,000. Then he quickly adapted the system. Afterward, he licensed it to IBM. However, Microsoft retained ownership of the software. That small but brilliant move completely changed the direction of the technology industry. While IBM sold hardware, Microsoft licensed its software to computer manufacturers all over the world. By 1998, Windows was installed on more than 90% of the world's personal computers. With one strategic move, the company became one of the most powerful monopolies in technology history. Of course, not everything always moves in a positive direction. Microsoft missed the internet era. Then it missed the mobile era as well. Had it captured both of those revolutions, it might occupy a very different position today. However, despite those mistakes, Microsoft successfully embraced cloud computing. Under the leadership of CEO Satya Nadella, who took over in 2014, Microsoft reinvented itself from the ground up. Azure is now the second largest cloud platform in the world. In 2024, Microsoft generated $245 billion in revenue. The company also made one of the largest and most perfectly timed investments in artificial intelligence by investing billions of dollars into OpenAI. Microsoft is no longer just the Windows company, it has become one of the most critical infrastructure companies in the world. Meta was founded in 2004. Mark Zuckerberg created the first version of Facebook in his Harvard dorm room in just 2 weeks. Its original name was The Facebook, and it was available exclusively to Harvard students. Within the first 24 hours after launch, more than 1,200 students had signed up. The platform was a huge success. Within a month, it had expanded to other universities. Within a few years, it had reached hundreds of millions of users. Zuckerberg's model was simple, and once again, simplicity was the critical factor. He gave people a free platform where they could connect with their friends. Then he sold advertisers the ability to reach those people with extraordinary precision. He wasn't selling a product, he was selling emotion. By 2012, Facebook had reached 1 billion users and the company went public. At its IPO, Facebook was valued at $100 billion. At the time, it was one of the largest public offerings in American history. During the following decade, Meta made 2 major acquisitions. In 2012, it acquired Instagram for $1 billion. In 2014, it acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. Both acquisitions were heavily criticized at the time for being far too expensive. Everyone thought Zuckerberg was going to fail. Today, Instagram alone is estimated to be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. In 2021, Meta made a bold and surprising move focused on the metaverse. He changed the company's name from Facebook to Meta. The Metaverse initiative lost more than $13 billion, and the company's stock price fell by nearly 70%. Investors were extremely unhappy. Critics claimed Zuckerberg had made a massive mistake. Then, Meta began to rise again. The company made major investments in artificial intelligence and rebuilt its advertising technology. By 2025, Meta had surpassed $200 billion in annual revenue. Its comeback was considered one of the fastest recoveries in technology history. The critical point in Zuckerberg's story is exactly the same as it was for the other legends: being simple and being courageous. Amazon. Amazon was founded in 1994. Jeff Bezos was working in a high-paying finance job in New York. In many ways, he already had a comfortable life, but he chose to take a risk. He quit his job, packed up his belongings, and moved across the country to Seattle with his wife. While his wife drove the car, Bezos worked on his business plan during the journey. He founded Amazon in a garage. The company's original name was Cadabra. However, when his lawyer heard the name and mistook it for cadaver, Bezos became uncomfortable with it. He immediately changed the name to Amazon. At first, the website sold only books, but from day one, Bezos had a much larger vision. He understood the potential. He wanted to create a store where people could buy absolutely anything. By 1998, Amazon had expanded into music and video sales. Then came clothing, electronics, and toys. After that, Bezos made another major decision. Revenue was growing, business was doing well, everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. Yet he decided that Amazon would become a place where everything could be sold. There is something most people do not know. Today, Amazon's biggest and most profitable business is not retail. Its most profitable business is cloud computing. AWS was launched in 2006. In 2024 alone, AWS generated $107 billion in revenue. Its profit margins rarely fall below 37%. AWS powers a critical portion of the internet. Netflix, Airbnb, NASA, and thousands of other organizations run their operations on Amazon servers. Amazon also owns a massive advertising platform. In 2024 alone, the company generated $63 billion in advertising revenue. Overall, Amazon generated $638 billion in revenue during 2024. That figure is larger than the annual economic output of many countries. And perhaps the strangest part of the story is this: everything started with boxes of books shipped from a garage in Seattle. 5 giant companies, 5 men who were not afraid to take risks, 5 men whose ideas were considered too ambitious, too unrealistic, and too absurd. Google built its first servers inside Lego blocks. Apple came back from the edge of collapse before changing the world. Microsoft bet everything on software at a time when most people did not even understand what software was. Facebook started as a simple university directory. Amazon spent an entire year selling nothing but books when nobody believed it could become anything more. Today, the combined value of these 5 companies is larger than the economies of many countries. There are countless people in the world who take risks. If you want to learn the critical decisions that shaped these men, and if you want to understand how the world's most powerful companies truly reach this level, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There are hundreds more stories waiting to be told. This was only the first one. Thank you.